On Thursday the 24th of April at 5 o'clock UTC, you'll be able to get your hands on the 780 and the Lion through the assembly shop. Yes, they are returning to the assembly shop in the exact same way that they were sold originally, this time without any 3D styles though. In this video I'm going to go through both of these vehicles and tell you my opinions on each one, and then also play a game in each of them. Let's start out with the 780 because this one is probably the better out of the two. The gun is super nice. You have 530 Alpha, very good standard pen, and okay premium pen, about what you would expect for APCR. DPM is okay, it's nothing absolutely amazing, and the accuracy is actually pretty good. But by far the best thing about this vehicle is the armor profile, because as you can tell there are a lot of ricochet angles, and also I'm not so sure on this ricochet shot trap area here. I haven't tested this in game. I haven't actually felt like I've ever been shot trapped in this vehicle. There is a spot down here where you can pen, but for it to actually bounce and then go into there, I don't know how often that's going to occur. Not very often at all when I'm playing it. Especially considering that most of the time you're going to be taller than them, so they're going to be looking at it around about here, and yeah, this is just no pen at all. If they were to go ahead and fire premium rounds such as the APCR on this, then yes, they can go either side of the gun, but really most people that are going to be shooting this tank will go for the cupola, and there are two of them. However, if you are using APCR, then yeah, these shots to actually hit them are not very easy. If we go ahead and use something like a 113's 340 heat, however, then yes, they are very easy to pen, as well as is, you know, the turret in general, because yeah, heat rounds, more pen. But the main thing that you need to watch out for when you are versing this tank is that the lower plate is not really a weak spot, because all that they have to do is just angle it a little bit, and then it becomes very hard to pen, unless you do have heat rounds, in which case then it's not too bad as long as you're hitting it quite flush. Because as you can see, as soon as it's not quite all there, yeah, you're going to be struggling. So yes, in general, this tank is a nightmare for AP and APCR, but against heat, it's not too bad. Obviously, you can't really side scrape in this vehicle because yes, it does have these side bits here as they lean in towards the center of the vehicle. So it's not super reliable to try and side scrape. It is possible now and again, but you need to be kind of wiggling quite a bit of the hull. And in general, this tank is very good. You have pretty good hit points at 2,300, and we're not using hardening, so we'll move on to equipment in a second. But you also go at 50 kilometers an hour forwards, and then 16 in reverse with 17 power to weight. It's very fast. Obviously, if you put a turbo on top of this, even faster. Which then brings us nicely onto the equipment. Now, we are using config, and that is because this tank loves getting set on fire. And the problem is that you don't really want to use experimental hardening because you can't pick the right-hand field mod for the first one, so the track health then goes out the window and it's a bit irrelevant altogether. So you might as well just pick config, and then you don't have to worry about track health. The problem is that the field mods on this vehicle, the last one isn't what you actually would want on this tank, which would be the well, the one that the 452K gets, where you get the 30% internal module durability bonus. That's the one that you really would love to have, but you don't get that. You get 2% hit points increase, and then you also get the detriment to dispersion for the hull and movement. So you're kind of stuck with those fuel tanks unless you do put config or experimental hardening on. Obviously, if you really want to put experimental hardening on, do it, but I think it's a waste when you could just use config and it's just better. At least in this scenario where you're going to have bad track health regardless. We are then obviously using a rammer, and then for the last one, we have vents. You could go and pick a turbo, you could go and pick a stab. It doesn't really matter for this last one. I found that vents has worked quite well. Ideally, my golden equipment would be hardening, rammer, and vents if it can do it. If it's too slow, however, then it obviously gets dropped vents for the turbo. But this vehicle is already fast enough. I don't feel like it needs any more speed. I think people put speed on the vehicle for no real reason most of the time, and honestly, I'd rather have vents than a turbo for this tank. So, the 780, we are on Ruinberg, and we are going to go over to the E12 sort of region, see if we can get some shots on people. Put one into this guy as he's running away. I also now don't want to be peeking up that way, just in case the FE is sitting there. I mean, he might be. I said FE out of pure fear. I didn't actually look at the team lineup, so I didn't actually know there was an FE until I said that and looked. I am just petrified of FEs and sniping TDs in general. They are not very fun to play against, so... not quite going through this Type 71 though. Ideally, we would like someone to come and just push into this little bit here, and then that would be great for us. But until then, we kind of just have to sit tight and just wait. There's not really loads that we can actually do from this. We need to let the game unfold and then be able to push into it. Well, the FV and the DBV have just been spotted there. The Type 71 is pushing across. We're not going to get any shots on them at the moment, but what we can probably do is just push down a little bit and then see if we can actually get some shots on like the E4 or something. One into the E4's cupola. Very nice. A little bit worried about this guy. I mean, but if he overpeaks and he will take a lot of damage for it, so... Again, we don't really want to be overpeaking ourselves at the same time, so... We do need to be careful of that. Oh, I mean... Yeah, TVD7, that's not exactly a great... I mean, he's getting away with it, so... I mean, okay. See if the Type 71 peaks. He shouldn't really, but... I mean, I don't know how he got away with that, to be honest. The game is very much over, and we do need to try and get a little bit more out of this game. So... Hello? One into Leo. I don't know what he was doing. You know how I said that you can't really side scrape? I mean, you sort of can if you, there we go. This Type 71 is very lucky. You sort of can if you just remain kind of flat. Or not as angled. Because there is still a little bit of an angle there that helps you out. Let's push in. Need to try and get a little bit further in, a little bit more aggressive. One more into that. I mean, as long as we're playing on our reload, we're okay. One more in. Lovely. That was the FV that just fired. Not too worried about the FV at the moment. One more into the 5. As I said though, this game is already over, so it's just about trying to get the damage in right now. And we aim. One into the gorilla. Very nice. So hopefully another 500 damage added, which is by no means a good game. But, I mean, honestly, with the way games are in World of Tanks currently, I'll take it. Like, it's not a nice experience playing World of Tanks currently at tier 10. So, and I do think that these, I mean, the assembly shot coming back, it's going to add more and more. Also, I don't know why it keeps cancelling that out. It's going to add more and more into tier 10, and I'm not so sure if it's going to be nice to play, even more so, or if it's going to help. Like, yeah, sure, more heavies and more mediums will balance out the TDs, but we'll just see. We'll just see. So we actually got, what, 3.6k out of that. Again, by no means a great game. I mean, the Marks of Excellence requirements apply. The Mark of Excellence requirements are 4.9, so they are pretty high. I mean, they're going to come down again, obviously, but yeah, aiming for around about 4k, I'd be happy with. So 3.6, okay, it's whatever. So the 780, very, very good tank. I cannot tell you whether or not it's worth it because only you can make that decision. Nobody else can possibly tell you that other than yourself, and it is up to you to work it out if you should go and get this tank or not. Let's now move over to the Lion. Now, the Lion is a little bit more of a kind of novel vehicle. You see, the Lion has an interesting auto-reloader mechanic, because usually what will happen is you have two types of auto-reloaders, where you load the first shot, which is the longest, so it will take, like, let's say 16 seconds for the first shell, then the next one is like 14, the next one be 11, and the next one be like 9 or something like that. And so the longer that you load and load and load, and then you play on that last shell, which gives you the most DPM. Or you have an inverse auto-reloader, which basically switches that around, and the first shell would be 9, so technically it's the best way of having an auto-reloader, because you have the best shell possible for DPM at the start. But the Lion actually has something a little bit different. You see, the first shell loads for 18.3 seconds, and then it goes to the next shell, which is 7. Then it goes 8.7, then it goes 11.3. So you load the first shell, and then the next shell is actually the best shell. So it is kind of a bit novel in that respect, where it's not the same as every other tank. I'll also remove the style because you'll not be able to get your hands on it for this There we go. We'll put that style on it. Whatever. It doesn't matter. But this is what it will look like if you went and bought it, because you will not be able to get that special style. That was only available at the start when it was first sold. For the armor layout of this tank, just basically assume you don't have any, because that is the best way of playing this tank. This tank is meant to be more of a sniper medium, mid-range kind of tank. It's not meant to be up close and personal. It's not meant to be absolutely miles away either, because as much as it is, yes, a sniper, it's not Leo 1 accuracy. This is more like a Leo than most other tanks. It's basically an auto-reloading Italian Leo that isn't as accurate, because you do get 0.28 accuracy. The aim time isn't great, however, but we do have stab, so hopefully it's not too bad. Hit points wise, we have 2,000. We are using hardening though. You go more than fast stuff at 60 kilometers an hour with 20 power to weight, and also the reverse speed is not great at 14, but more than good enough. But the camo rating is actually pretty good at 34%. Now, this is obviously with it fully maxed out, and we are using field mods as well. Now, if we do go ahead and look at the field mods, you'll see on the left-hand side here, this is the main one that you're maybe a little bit unsure about, because if you go for the left-hand side, you do get that nicer top speed in reverse, but then you also lose out the camo. So it would be nice to have this, but at the same time, I'd much rather have the camo, especially with this style of tank. For number 7, I'm currently not using either, but you could pick either of them. I don't think that it actually matters which one you do. You could pick the right, you could pick the left, you could pick none. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, just pick whatever you want on this one. Because it's basically a negative towards DPM at the detriment to accuracy, or it's an accuracy benefit at the detriment to DPM. So it's really down to you. And then for the last one, obviously we chose engine power because the aim time doesn't really matter too much. Okay, so you join me on highway. And as you can see, we are loading the first shell, which has 10 seconds left. It was 18 at the very start. And then right after this, you will see that it's going to start loading the next shell, which is only going to take about 7 seconds. As you go now, and it starts loading just like that. So 4, 3, 2, 1, and the next one's like 8.7 or something. Yep. So it's basically like an inverse auto reloader, but the first shell exists that is long. Sort of, I guess. But as you'll see, it doesn't take that long to actually get all of the shells into this tank. And I do think that this feels quite a comfy vehicle. It's not broken OP or anything like that. It's just quite a nice comfy tank. And I think that it's honestly the best way of describing both of these vehicles, to be honest with you. They're just quite nice and comfy. I don't quite get the intro clip in time. It is 4.5 seconds to actually to shoot the intro clip, which can be quite bad. There we go. And we actually have our best shell ready to go now. So we just wait, we load that, and 1 second later, one more back in, and then we just wait again. And then 1 second later, you can then go and shoot again. So it's quite a nice reload time actually for this, because it's 4.5 seconds, but you only realistically need to wait that extra 2 seconds to actually get that shell ready, and you can just fire it. So, oh, what are you doing? Is this guy actually peeking this? No way. That is not such a great shot by me. I mean, okay. I don't know where those went. Obviously, this tank being AP and APCR is a bit of a problem. Most people will go for just pure APCR because it is just the better round in general. But the AP does work. 258 standard pen. You have 323 premium pen, which is quite nice. More than what the 780 has. Oh, not such a nice time from that. Get that repaired as soon as possible. One more into him. He's just fired like an extra shot. Now we will kill him, get him out of the game, and then we need to try and turn and sort out this. Although, to be fair to you, I'm actually not got a repair. We're dead here. And RT hits us for 500, because of course they do. And the game is 1-7. But yes, you can see what I mean about the line. It's quite a comfy tank. Our team sucks. RT exists. There's many things wrong with the game at the moment, and I'm not going to just keep re-recording the games until I get a game that works, because I'll be here all day. But you can see what I mean about the Lion. It's just a nice, comfy vehicle in general. Also, you would have probably seen that in that game, we did block a fair few things. And I did say that, assume that everybody that is going to shoot you will pen, because it really is kind of just an auto pen for most people that you're going to meet. Remember, this is a tier 10 vehicle. The thing is, it does have auto ricochets on the sides that will bounce, and the turret mantlet is actually quite good. But the problem is that as soon as they fire premium rounds, which most of the time that's what they're going to be firing against you, you just get absolutely like Swiss cheese. There's no armor there at all, and everybody will pen you. The hull is basically an auto pen for everybody that you're going to face. So it can bounce stuff, but you really shouldn't rely on it. So yes, at the end of that game, only 3,000 damage, or not even that. We did get a little bit of blocking, as we've just mentioned, but welcome to World of Tanks. So yeah, I mean, the tank is good, but I can't do anything about the games that I'm playing. So the Lion, is it better than the 780? No. But is it more comfy than the 780? Well, I mean, that really depends on if you're a medium tank player or a heavy tank player, because medium tank players obviously going to say the Lion. Heavy tank players probably going to go towards the 780. I think that the Lion is quite a comfy tank, but at the same time, 780 is better in my opinion. But either way, this video was just there to announce that the assembly shop is on its way. So if you don't already have the Lion or the 780, then you can go ahead and get it very, very soon. As always, let me know in the comments down below whether you don't care about this assembly shop, you have both of them. Let me know your thoughts on which one you prefer. Or if you are going to go ahead and get one of them, then let me know which one you're going to consider picking up down below. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.